connect. Let me congratulate you, Vishwanath, and your company Formlabs for being conferred with the 3D Graphy Medical Awards 2020 in the category of SLA 3D printer for dental and medical of the year. Now, I know the technology is gaining a lot of traction in the country, especially, but globally, I'm sure Formlabs have done some great work in terms of offering solutions in this space, and I think we are at the right time in India where these solutions are definitely making life easier for doctors and surgeons and also biomedical engineers, everybody coming together, the end users who seems making this technology useful to ensure that the right services is offered to their customers and patients.
Right.
If you can just take us through your journey, as in one is somebody who is the channel head for India, and now you have more responsibilities going forward for different countries that you are going to be assigned the work for. What do you see the opportunity here? One, and and how do you see dental and medical as a sector going forward for your company to offer these solutions?
Sure. First and foremost, Shibu, really appreciate this gesture. I'm really honored because my first year with Formlabs, and this is the first award what we are getting. Really, really big thanks to you and your team and all the people who voted for us. That's really good. And just to give you a little bit of a background, so like just before joining Formlabs, I was with Autodesk for about 3 years, and then that's when probably sometime in February last year, this option came up my way where it was a good opportunity for me to take up this role. And the good news is, in spite of all the challenges in front of us, when we were in the first wave of COVID, and we kind of started Formlabs India operation on 1st of May 2020. And then it was like, the challenge in front of us was how do we, address such a big, diverse market which we are in, right? So we have a fantastic presence of large automotive companies, huge hospitals. Look at the kind of hospitals we are coming up. In fact, a kilometer away from my home, there is this new, group of hospitals called Aster. It's nothing less than a 5-star hotel today. That's when I started thinking, okay, so apart from engineering and automotive, another two big verticals which we should be going after, one was the medical and the second one was dental. So to start with, what we did was we tried to bring in value-added resellers who have the depth of the industry domain knowledge in medical. So as we speak, we have 4 channel partners who are assigned towards growing our medical and dental space. And as you know, Formlabs, we are just not selling the hardware, right? We are just not a 3D printing company. We talk about the end-to-end workflow when it comes to additive manufacturing under the SLA technology. So and another very different thing which we are doing is the Form 2 series of Formlab machines were a typical out-and-out SLA desktop printers. But when we introduced the Form 3, there were a lot of changes in the way we are looking at technology. So we introduced this concept called LFS. I'll not get into more details on that because I don't think this is the right forum. But LFS definitely has contributed a lot towards the overall output of the printed parts. And the next thing, when I talk about workflow, we do have our own manufacturing facility when it comes to resins, right, in the US. And all our resins are manufactured under a ISO 13485 certified facility. So as we are talking, we have introduced a couple of new resins, Biomed Amber, Biomed Clear. These are 2 new resins which we have for the medical domain. And then when we're talking about under the workflow, the 3D printer, we do have a series called Form 3B. So the B stands for, Biomed, I think Biomed resins. You can use that. And then when you look at the dental space, before May 2020, when Formlabs India was managed from our APAC headquarters, which is Singapore, we just had one dental partner in Mumbai. So that now we have kind of expanded our portfolio there as well. We have new channel partners who understand the dental domain. And today, if you see, dental labs, the kind of dental labs which are coming up, one fantastic news is last 15 days back, we signed up with another company called Bego, right? So Bego is a partner now with Formlabs, and we are now getting into the space called permanent crowns, right? So it's extremely exciting. Where if you look at it, there are some basic ROIs which has been done in the US, and if you compare a permanent crown which is built using the chairside milling versus 3D printing, a crown which will cost you around $33 when you do it through subtractive manufacturing, which or chairside milling, as compared to when you do it using the 3D printer, the Formlabs 3D printer and the Bego resin, it's coming to about $4. So you can see the kind of difference there, right? So with our new partners, what we are trying to do is our 2021 plan. We are in the fag end of closing our FY20. So in 2021, we are definitely building a lot of India case studies in the dental space using the Bego resin, and also medical. Recently, we are talking to a few big customers, enterprise level customers, where we are trying to work on some benchmarks with Biomed Amber and Clear. So these two resins are extremely well suited for the medical vertical. And another good news is, apart from the 3B, we have about 2 months back, we have launched our large format printer. It's the 3BLC. So the L stands there for large format printer. So if you compare, yeah, sorry.
So those are for medical devices, or maybe the what is that? This is going to be for the engineering space, or very specifically for the dental space that you're looking at the last one. You're talking about the bed size, or
talking about the build volume? Yes.
Okay.
Very good question. Yes. The L series again comes into two variants. The 3L will be more towards engineering, automotive, non-biomed, I would say. The 3BL is more focused on the medical and the dental space. Two intents of positioning, or rather bringing the 3BL to the India market, is one, to look at batch production of products like aligners. Okay, when I talk about aligners, we have also recently introduced a new resin called Craft V2, right? So if you compare, the minute your build volume starts increasing, time to print also is a big challenge, right? So our solution to address that problem is Draft V2. So our beta tests are a couple of benchmarks which we have done so far. We are almost 30% faster than FDM with Draft V2, and almost about 31-32% faster than DLV.
So do we have materials like ceramic, which actually mostly that constitutes to mostly for the dental space? When you're talking about ceramic crowns, what are the materials that we will actually have typically that we will be able to?
Good question. So I spoke about Biomed Amber and Clear, which is very, very specific in the area of biomed. Or when I say biomed, these two resins, you can use it when the part needs to have a contact with the skin, right? So apart from that, we have dental LT, surgical guide. These are some of our resins when we talk about the dental space. And recently, again, I spoke to you about Bego, right? So Bego is our answer for any application in the area of permanent crown and temporary crown. So apart from that, there are your standard set of resins, which is the clear, the gray, and Draft B2 is also used in
also, this tensile strength when it comes to compare to a metal or a stainless steel or a cobalt probe, how does it fare well when it comes to our resins? When it comes to crowns?
Yeah, so early days, we still need to do a couple of benchmarks in India. Maybe 1 month from now, we will definitely have an answer to this. Because as we are speaking, the sample shipments are coming into India. So we still need to do some kind of benchmarks for.
So, Vishwanath, the reason I'm asking you all this is, see, we as a platform, we also have this 3D graphy panel members. Now,
Right.
there are these doctors now, from the last time that I spoke to you,
Mhm.
with this event that we've actually been able to conclude.
Right.
We got, I think the first one was a dental event, if you remember, the 3D graphy where you participated in
Correct.
July. And to date now it is almost 3 months, 4 months. We've added close to 162 doctors from a group of 55 of them. So our target is also to work with these doctors and surgeons in various specialization who come together uh, as an end user, also expecting finer innovations using 3D printing. And this is across specialization, and it is also across technologies that they are expecting. May it be metal, may it be DMLS, SLM, even resin. So the idea is they want to do deep diving in terms of also want to understand and learn the technology. These are doctors who also want to get themselves trained. So we've actually setting a benchmark in terms of having something in the country. Nowhere in the country we have this platform. I mean, we've been able to design it last year. So when we're doing this, events and conferences are also going to be part and parcel, because events and conferences will also help you to lead where there could actually be everybody coming together, discussing their thoughts, sharing ideas, and that translates to business eventually, or services, or research and development in terms of getting into some case studies. So if you're looking at that kind of a space, we can actually have these doctors come up with their inputs post they get an experience to use the products. So it could be more like a case study for us to build in the direction that you would want to see, that where these materials can be compatible, where these materials can be useful, and what will be the cost effectiveness in terms of compared to vis-a-vis. As you rightly said, it's a very huge drastic difference when it comes to milling machine, and that's a huge case study that you've got.
Right.
And it makes worth a way for dental practitioners to look at even buying this machine. And I think every dental chair side must have a machine in that case.
True.
It makes feasible good sense for them to make a choice of various different materials, and also applications and appliances. It could be, because it could be clear aligners, it could be copings, it could be space maintainers. In fact, we did a research for one of the doctors who were looking at space maintainers resin, looking at that as an option. If you know space maintainers, it is for pediatric dentistry, where children who probably have to remove the tooth off for reason because of decay, you have space in between two teeth. So how do you maintain that space is
Okay.
something that you make these space maintainers of. So
Right.
we try and so earlier it was more to do with the metal, cap, and then a loop around it. So it's always been a challenge because it could sometimes slip away and all that. But now you can scan with an Oro scanner, and then you can make a design, and you can actually see that the right fit is there. And
Right.
it can be with metal, mostly, that we found that metal was a better option with DMLS. But now also cobalt chrome. But there was one study recently that one doctor whom I did assist her in terms of working on that particular project, and she's come up with an option of even resin, looking at that as an option.
Right.
So I'm saying there could be ways in which we can work in that direction. If you because it's the beginning, you need to set a benchmark, and
Right.
you also need inputs coming from these doctors,
Right.
and who are actually in the space.
Right. So the way I look at it is like, especially going forward, so the base now is set for Formlabs in India. We do have a fantastic team who understands. We have the knowledge in the T-shaped model, right? So now what we are trying to do is, as we speak in starting Jan 2021. So we want to welcome the your members of your forum, and most of the all my partners today in India, they do have their own benchmarking facility, right? In Bombay alone, I have 4 or 5 printers installed, right? Where these printers are specifically used for to build India case studies, and where I would like to leverage your expertise, your fraternity's expertise is like to coach us, guide us, and throw some challenges where we can come back to you and probably build some sample parts which you can try it out on the field and let us know what is the kind of improvements. And then okay, let's take Bego for example. One of the things we are trying to do is unlike the Western world, Indians have a tendency to eat a lot of masala. So how the permanent crown resin will react to the Indian masala is something which we are trying to test.
Very true.
With one of the dental labs, right? So the minute the shipment is in, that's the first project which we are trying to do. Likewise, another colleague of mine from Imaginarium, he's trying to see, working with a doctor and trying to see how pre-medical or pre-operative studies can be done before the actual operation happens, so that errors are lesser, and how we can optimize the time and so many other things. So we are very open as a team in India, Formlabs India team. We are very open to try out new different applications. And one of our biggest strength is the our catalog of resins which we have. Compared to competition, that's where we stand separate, right? So we do have a lot of options to try out. And I'm sure if one resin doesn't work out, there should be another resin which will definitely help a particular application. So very happy to team up with your colleagues, friends, and a couple of doctors to take this. Yeah,
sure. Sure. And also, what is the number of resins that you have, and are they all IP registered?
Oh yeah. So if I'm going to club the standard, engineering, and the biomed resins, we have more than 23.
Okay. Approximately. And in the medical space and the dental space,
medical space and dental space, yeah, good question. So in the medical space, we do have biomed amber and clear, which are specific to biomed. And then when it comes to dentistry, we have surgical guide, we have dental LT clear, and also something called as a custom tray. And then with Bego coming in, we have two resins, one for the permanent crown and one for the temporary crown. And then there are also other resins like castable wax, in case you need to do some sort of casting, especially, which is going to be helpful in the dental space. And apart from that, when with our standard resin which we have white and gray, which can be used for pediatric or orthopedic kind of application. We have elastic resin, which can be used for neurology, and then also tough 1500. So this is a very interesting resin where it can be used for the device development, which are device development for surgery and all those.
Medical devices. Yeah. Medical devices. Yeah. So it's a buffet of solutions, Vishwanath, that Formlabs is offering. I'm sure there is a good repository of information and knowledge which actually will transpire through this particular content that you have been able to build in terms of actual material. Because more than the machine, I think, machine is important, obviously, in terms of the calibration speed and precision that you can get. But I think materials are also very, very key and important.
Correct. And the third part which I have not covered so far is the post-processing. So we do have our own post-processing system, the form wash and the form stir, which is, so the good part is the technical data sheet for each of these materials calls out specifically the washing and the curing timelines, right? So that is also extremely important to make sure all the mechanical properties are intact after process. And last but not the least, we do have our own software, which is called Preform. So anything before you start printing in terms of orientation, in terms of support structure decisions, all that can be done using the Preform. Net, from my own experience, I have been in the additive manufacturing space for a long time now. So one of the best things I really like about the entire technology from Formlabs is ease of use. You don't need a trained engineer or a trained resource who understands, who knows basics of 3D printing to operate on a 3D printer from Formlabs. A common, a little bit of handholding is all that is needed to get up and run.
So I think that's also the beauty of this technology, and which also means that learning and education needs to also start at the basic level in colleges, because it doesn't need much of a engineering knowledge if you know how the machine works. But yeah, the knowledge of how you can operate and come up with innovative solutions, because everything is to do with innovation. So even if here, Vishwanath, we have innovators who have come forward and they've done some great work, and these are all doctors.
Right.
So they come with a lot of innovation, and they're looking at a tool or a solution, and that is where they can get those tools and these machinery to provide that solution from you as a technology respondent. So that's the kind of an opportunity that we've been able to build, and I think there's a great prospect for Formlabs going forward in the country.
Oh, yeah.
How do you, what do you think about how cost sensitive do you think India is a market when it comes to your pricing? I'm not say pricing is subsequent, but I think it is all going to be either the value and the solution. But where I'm coming from is, do you have ranges of machines for companies to make a choice or individuals to make a choice to first begin with a beginner machine and then go to the higher machines with the kind of experience going forward? You did mention about the bed size. I'm sure with a small dental lab coming up, not a dental lab, maybe somebody who is just a clinic but want to try out a machine and get an experience, and then slowly start growing in the process to build his own setup with a high end machine that you are offering. So do you have different ranges?
Yeah, so good question. So this is one of the things which we have been extremely sensitive about, because we do understand that a good technology at a good price is something what an Indian customer would be looking for. So compared to competition, we are extremely our pricings are extremely competitive. And for starters, what we would say is Form 3B, the small format machine which we have, our desktop range of solution. So that is something which is which a dental lab who's who are first time additive manufacturing, who are getting into first time experience of additive manufacturing, can try out the Form 3B, and then a little more matured customers who know additive manufacturing, or rather who have already invested in the FDM or the DLP technology, who want to scale up now to SLA, even they can be looking at Form 3B. And if you look at the costing, what we have in the US to India, we are not very different. We're almost there. And next thing is the Form 3BL. Though it is 5 times bigger in terms of build volume compared to the 3 series, the 3B series, it is again priced very, very aggressively. And as we are talking, we are running a lot of campaigns. In fact, for Q4, last date is December 24th. We are running a pre-order campaign for the 3BL where we are offering $1,000 off on our end user price, right? And one of the things which we are extremely careful about is, to make sure we provide a good solution at an affordable cost. So this is something I've had personally. I've had experiences, in the metal 3D printing space. I know how expensive it is to build a small part, but this is something which is really exciting from Formlabs, that we have made sure that our pricings are taken into consideration, and very much for the Indian market here.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Vishwanath, for your inputs. And I think the technology has a great prospect in terms of the kind of solutions that you're offering with materials which come with various for various applications, and also wishing you all the best, and once again congratulate you for your awards. As you would know that this awards that we do, in fact we started in the year 2014,
Mhm.
We had the 3D printing world. That's a larger platform that we've designed, and that covers a very huge market. I mean, that covers all the markets, I would say, very
Okay.
sectors: aerospace, defense, automobile, engineering, oil and gas. So we will be conducting the sixth edition in January. But medical and dental is going to be an area that we wanted to be focusing very closely, and separately, because it's a very sensitive market because you're dealing with lives at the end of
True.
the day. So, and that apart from dental, there are cases in neurology and heart. So a lot of these, specialization needs, detailed attention. So we thought we need to have 3D graphy medical and dental as a separate initiative. It was initiated last year, and with the presence of Shri Subhash Desai sir, who is the Minister for Industries, he inaugurated it. And the clear agenda for us, the first thing was to educate and train, because it needs to be first thing. If there is training and education, the other things will follow, because it is important that we need to impart knowledge. So workshops, training programs, conferences. Also now we are also looking at gaining traction in terms of case studies on various projects and solutions that they might be looking at. Where probably I did mention that we can work together. So I
Sure.
think the larger intent is that, and the awards is also important because there's so many people who are doing some great work, but nobody is even aware of. So last 5 years in India, nobody has been doing the awards. So awards also we've kept it very clear in terms of a standard parameter. It's KIC, that's knowledge, implementation, and customer responsiveness. So
Mhm.
without knowledge or implementation, a person or a company. So individually also we acknowledge respondents and also company. And so without knowledge and implementation, they don't get to nominate themselves. Uh, and customer responsive is also important, which means that testimonies are going to be very crucial from customers, because customers giving a testimony itself is actually you're won over in terms of the good work that you've been doing, or the company's initiative in terms of offering the right solution, that the customer is happy. No customer is happy as long as you want to make them happy. But I'm saying that is also a clear way of for us to validate things, and that has actually helped. And today, for that matter, we know it's in count in fingers in terms of these companies. But more than the companies and solution providers, what our direction is towards the end users. So
Right.
the more the end users, channel builds up in terms of for us to recognize them for the good work, there'll be a conscious effort for these doctors and surgeons in that specialization going out and saying and speaking out, saying that they've been acknowledged for the initiative.
Right.
Needs a due recognition, and which means the particular specialized area will also get to know about 3D printing, and probably then they will come back and they will also want to try out.
Yep.
So basically, the idea is innovation and end users, and that's been our tilt towards. And once again, congratulating you,
Thank you. Thank you, Shivu. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I really, yeah.
because I understand, because technologies are not going to be very. I mean, it takes a lot of effort in terms of research and development, a lot of investments to be made, and then finally you come up with these unique products.
Right.
So I really appreciate the efforts being made by the company, and you especially, because you've been taking the course forward. You're bang on in terms of the Indian market, and you're working really hard. I can see that you're very aggressively doing it, and wishing you all the best, Vishwanath.
Thank you, Shivu.
And we'll keep in touch. Thank you so much
Sure,
for your
sure.
work today. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. My last thing I would like to just add is there is this concept called 3D printing in hospitals,
Uh-huh.
which is a campaign which we are running at Formlabs.
Okay. Okay.
I think that's where our synergies are needed, right? So
Yeah.
you are a platform for that, and we do have a workflow which can address all the 3D printing needs in a hospital. So
So when you spoke about hospital, you'd be surprised to know there are so many doctors who are still even not even aware of 3D printing, or even if them of the for them to have known about 3D printing, they feel that this is it's a foreign product. You don't get it in India, which is, I mean, I think so. Awareness is the key, and
right,
people feel that it's very expensive, which is not the truth.
not,
It's going to be see, it's economies of scale. As the product gets more penetration, the prices also will come down. But there are n number of products which also comes with a very small ticket size. So I'm saying now things have opened up. I know for the fact that even 6-7 years back when we started with this platform 3D printing world, we know that not much of the awareness was there. Even today, when we have got many of them who've already been aware of this, much of this work is still not known to many of them. So we are at what, zero point. The other day I was just going through a detailed report. It's in India, sorry, globally it is 0.08% of absorbed, that 3D printing is got absorbed. So it means the opportunity is huge, and in India, this is still going to be a bigger opportunity for us going forward. To one is to penetrate and create the awareness, and that is how it will gain momentum and traction for people to know that this technology can benefit them. That's true. So thank you so much, Vishwanath, and have a wonderful time ahead. And wishing you all the best.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so much.
in touch. And hospitals, when you mentioned, we will be doing these workshops going forward. Post the we're doing one on the 12th of December. We are doing it for all the orthopedic surgeons, and we've tied up already with the Orthopedic Association of India. Likewise, post that we are doing it with all the hospitals also, for hospitals to know what and how they can make the best use of this technology. So if it is very specific to one, because the conference actually helped us to, I mean, the 3D printing, the 3D graphy medical conference that we did recently, it was a global interaction. So we had people from various different countries also join. We had almost 15 countries join for this conference. But subsequent to that, there were different subjects, different application, orthopedic, dental. Within dental, we have almost 8 to 9 different specialization.
Right.
So everybody, we touched upon everything, even medical devices, prosthetics, a huge area in terms of an opportunity. But we touched upon everything. But we now plan to go detailed for workshops of 2.5 to 3 hours sessions back to back on each subject, so that there's more detailing, more intricacies, more so that's the key and that's the plan. So wishing you all the best, and we will definitely want to work together. Thank you.
Very happy to collaborate with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.